For centuries, Mars has captivated our imagination as the next great frontier. It's a world painted in shades of rust and silence, a place both hostile and hauntingly beautiful. With no breathable air, no liquid water on the surface, and temperatures that can plummet to -100 degrees Celsius, it seems like the last place we should go. And yet it's exactly where we're heading. Not for adventure, not for glory, but for survival. Climate change, overpopulation, resource depletion. Earth is approaching a point where these no longer sound like distant threats. They're becoming our reality. That's why governments and private companies are investing billions into getting to Mars. Because the question is no longer if we'll go, it's when. And more importantly, what happens when we do? Imagine it, the first boots sinking into Martian dust. The horizon stretches endlessly, red and silent. Behind that helmet, a human being is experiencing something no one has felt before, walking on an alien planet with the intention of staying. This isn't a short mission. It's not the moon. This is colonization. But colonizing Mars is nothing like starting a city on Earth. There are no forests to clear, no rivers to harness, no air to breathe. Everything has to be brought from Earth or created artificially. Oxygen must be extracted from carbon dioxide using high-energy processes. Water has to be mined as ice, then melted, filtered, and recycled endlessly. Crops will grow under LED lights in pressurized greenhouses with artificial soil and constant monitoring. Every calorie will be precious, every breath a calculated risk. Shelter won't be built with wood or bricks, but with reinforced materials flown from Earth or 3D printed using Martian regolith. Radiation is one of the greatest threats. Mars has no magnetic field or thick atmosphere to protect us, so colonists may live underground or in shielded domes for most of their lives. Outside excursions will be rare, and every step outside the habitat will be like walking a tightrope without a net. One crack in a suit, one power failure, one mistake, and death is immediate. And yet humans will adapt. We always have. But adapting to Mars means changing who we are. Bones will weaken due to lower gravity. Muscle mass will decrease. Children born there may never survive a return to Earth. Social structures will evolve. Colonists will likely live in small, highly interdependent groups where cooperation is essential and conflict could be catastrophic. There will be no backup, no ambulance coming, no resupply flight within reach. Colonists will need to become engineers, doctors, farmers, psychologists, and leaders all at once. Each of them will carry the weight of an entire species on their shoulders. Because this isn't just about leaving Earth. It's about redefining what it means to be human on a planet that doesn't want us there. The first generation of Martian colonists won't be explorers. They'll be survivors. Every decision will be based on efficiency, safety, and long-term planning. There will be no weekends, no holidays, no room for error. Daily routines will revolve around maintaining life support systems, repairing habitat components, growing food, filtering water, monitoring radiation levels, and recording everything. Because on Mars, data is life. A single unnoticed malfunction can trigger a chain of failures that ends in silence. But survival isn't enough. Humans don't just live, we build, we organize, we create meaning. And that's where the real experiment begins. What kind of society will emerge in a place so unforgiving? Will Martian colonies replicate Earth's political systems or invent entirely new ways to govern? On Earth, we vote with comfort. On Mars, every voice might need to count, not out of principle but necessity. Democracy may evolve or collapse entirely. Religion may fade or be reborn under a red sky. Imagine kneeling in a dome, looking up at a planet where Earth is just a distant star. For some, this will be divine. For others, isolating. Philosophies will change. New myths may arise. Children born on Mars might grow up never truly understanding gravity, rain, or the blue sky. They'll learn about those things in history books, the way we learn about mammoths and pyramids. Language itself may shift. Martian settlers will likely start with English, Chinese, or Russian, but over time, dialects may form. Words will be invented to describe Martian-specific things, like the process of oxygen mining or the taste of hydroponic spinach grown under LED light in low gravity. Slang will develop. Cultures will evolve in isolation, but conflict is inevitable. Limited space, limited resources, psychological stress, and constant proximity can lead to tension, even among highly trained individuals. Mars doesn't forgive drama. There is no leaving, no walking away. Any serious conflict could threaten the stability of the entire colony. That's why future Martian societies may be more authoritarian or more cooperative than anything we know. Survival will dictate the system. And what happens when multiple colonies begin to form, built by different nations or corporations? Will there be Martian borders? Martian wars? Will humans export not just our technology, but our division? Or will a new identity emerge, Martian, one that finally transcends earthbound ideologies? Education will change too. Children won't learn to ride bicycles. They'll learn how to repair solar panels and monitor air pressure. History classes will begin not with Mesopotamia, but with the day humans landed on Mars. Cultural memory will shift. The meaning of home will change. And when the first person dies on Mars, what rituals will honor them? Where will they be buried? Will we build Martian cemeteries or cremate to preserve oxygen? Death on Mars will be more than biological. It will be symbolic. It will mean that Mars is no longer just a mission. It's a home. A dangerous, fragile, alien home, but ours nonetheless. As Martian society matures, its relationship with Earth will inevitably shift. At first, Earth will be the lifeline, the supplier of technology, parts, medicine, and information. But over time, distance will breed independence. Communications between the planets take up to 22 minutes each way. There will be no real-time conversations, no live help desk. Martians will solve problems alone, develop innovations on their own, and eventually, they'll stop asking Earth for permission. This will be the true birth of a Martian civilization. The moment it no longer feels like an extension of Earth, but something entirely new. Its architecture will reflect the environment. Buried structures, vertical farms, modular tunnels designed to resist dust storms and radiation. Its art will be born from necessity and silence. Music composed in 1/3 gravity, paintings made from Martian minerals. Stories of pioneers, not conquerors. And with that independence comes a question Earth has always feared. Will Martians want to remain part of Earth's political sphere? Or will they declare sovereignty? After all, how long can a people remain loyal to a planet they've never seen? How long before Martians stop saying, "We're from Earth," and start saying, "We're from Mars"? That shift could spark a new kind of revolution. Not a war of weapons, but of identity. Earth may try to retain control through regulations, trade restrictions, even political influence. But the more Mars provides for itself, the less it will need Earth. Especially if Martians discover resources like rare metals or subsurface water deposits that Earth desperately wants. This opens the door to a second colonization wave, not of scientists and engineers, but of corporations. Companies looking to mine, build, profit. But Mars isn't a blank slate. Colonists will have built a fragile society tuned for survival. The arrival of commercial forces could disrupt that balance. Tensions may rise between early settlers and new arrivals, between idealists and capitalists, between survival and exploitation. Technological innovation will accelerate. Martians will need to push robotics, AI, and biotechnology far beyond Earth's pace. Machines will repair machines. Drones will map unexplored regions. Genetic engineering may become common, not for enhancement but for adaptation. Crops modified to thrive in Martian soil. Humans possibly altered to endure the planet's unique conditions. And eventually someone will ask the question, why stop here? Once Mars is colonized, attention will shift to Jupiter's moons, Saturn's rings, the asteroid belt. Mars will become the new launch pad for deeper space. And Earth, once the center of everything, will start to feel like a memory. Beautiful, blue, but distant. In that moment, humanity will face a new kind of loneliness. We will have taken our first true step into the universe. We will have left behind the cradle of our birth. And the silence between planets will no longer scare us. It will define us. Because Mars isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of something much bigger. As the Martian population grows, so will its complexity. What begins with a few dozen trained specialists will evolve into a community of hundreds, then thousands. And with population growth comes diversity, not just in skill sets, but in opinions, beliefs, desires, and ambitions. For the first time, Mars will face something very human: disagreement. Not every colonist will want to follow the original mission protocols forever. Some will question rules. Others will challenge leadership. Personal freedom will clash with collective survival. Should people be allowed to start families? Should births be regulated? Can people vote, protest, or dissent when their survival depends on absolute coordination? Martian politics will be shaped not by ideology, but by pressure. In a world where the air is artificial and every calorie is accounted for, rights will have limits. But limits breed resentment. And resentment can grow, even in spacesuits. Small rebellions may start with complaints, evolve into refusal, and escalate into sabotage. A malfunctioning water system, a hacked power grid, a manipulated oxygen algorithm. On Earth, such events are dangerous. On Mars, they're potentially fatal. A single act of defiance could collapse an entire ecosystem. That's why psychological stability will be just as important as engineering. Future Martian colonies may rely on mandatory counseling, emotional monitoring systems, and AI-based conflict resolution. Not to control people, but to prevent chaos from consuming the colony from within. And what about love on Mars? Romance will happen inevitably. People living in extreme environments often form intense bonds. But love in a closed system brings consequences. Jealousy, heartbreak, betrayal, all amplified in a place where isolation is already overwhelming. The emotional weight of life on Mars could be heavier than the gravity ever was. Art and expression will become survival tools. Colonists will write, paint, dance, not for fame, but for sanity. New cultural traditions may emerge. Martian holidays, Martian poetry, Martian lullabies sung to children who've never seen a tree. Meanwhile, Earth will watch from afar, trying to maintain influence. But Earth's politics will no longer apply. Mars will develop its own values, shaped by scarcity, danger, and interdependence. Concepts like ownership, debt, and even currency may evolve into something unfamiliar. Education will be rewritten. Children raised on Mars won't study Earth history the way we study it. They won't memorize borders and wars. They'll learn the chemistry of air recycling, the mechanics of solar panels, and the ethics of survival. And when they ask about Earth, their parents will describe it like a myth, a place with oceans, clouds, and animals, a planet where people once walked freely, without helmets or pressure suits, a world that gave birth to them, and then let them go. For these children, Mars will not be a mission, it will be their normal. And Earth, the place they never knew, will become just another story from the past. One day, standing on the Martian surface, a child will look up, not at Earth, but at the stars. And they'll ask a question we never considered. What comes after Mars? Because for them, the red planet won't be a destination. It will be home. And just like Earth once pushed humanity across oceans and continents, Mars will push us deeper into space. Not out of ambition, but out of instinct. The same instinct that made us leave Africa. The same urge that made us climb mountains, sail into storms, and build cities in deserts. Colonizing Mars is not about escaping Earth. It's about extending what it means to be human. About proving that intelligence, cooperation, and imagination can overcome an environment designed to kill us. And yet Mars will change us. It will rewrite our biology, our values, our future. We won't just be Earthlings living on another planet. We'll become something else, something new. The moment we land, the countdown begins, not to failure, but to transformation. Because in the end, the real question isn't what if we colonized Mars, it's what if we never stop.